Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. The 9th of August 2016, another recording for the NSA. This is the series of recordings aimed at delivering and correcting information. My name is Agnieszka Rojek. So let us start. I don't have too much time today because the limit of my Vimeo space is basic. So I need to focus on a few things until I'll be able to talk to you again. Overall, I would like to focus on my teaching experience to explain my attitudes. However, first I want to make a few announcements which seem to be necessary. I have already made them, but let me repeat them for the record. So, first of all, I have never ever agreed to be a public person. No one has talked to me about it. The only person that talked to me about it on the subject, that touched the subject, was Zuza Barczewska, years ago when I met her. And it was not a proper conversation. We were talking about something. She said what she was doing. I learned that she was working as a translator in some position related to the government. I congratulated her. I thought it was a great success. And she said, oh, well, but you lose your privacy. And then I started thinking, and I was wondering whether I had my privacy, because I had the sense that it was not really the case. Obviously, I never imagined that one can be deprived of privacy in the way that it has happened. Still, I did not, we did not discuss it further. I did not say yes, I did not say no. So this is the only conversation that has ever existed on the subject of privacy. Secondly, I want to say that I have never agreed on whoever merging with me. So I was living throughout my life with this conviction that I can have a spiritual contact with someone. So, for example, I did believe in my husband, the person I had been looking for all my life. I believe in reincarnation, appearing in my world, having this kind of connection with me. From the perspective of time, I can say that a friend or a family would have this kind of connection too. But it is totally unthinkable for me that people whom I don't want in my life, first of all, and then people like celebrities, my former pupils, or politicians can appear in my private, intimate life, at home. This is just unthinkable. They have never ever had an agreement. And then there was no agreement to changing my space, changing my quality, which obviously changes the quality of life. I was very happy with the, let's say, makeup in terms of space I had in the wake of my SEOC training and my stay at St. Hill, the people I met there. It was perfect. It was absolutely perfect. And I was happy till 2009 when Marek Biczak was trying to take control over me, to turn me into his extension. He was failing, so we had an enormous tension. And out of that tension, there came up all sorts of problems connected with unwanted touch. So his touching my fingers, for example, was probably not meant to be sexual. It was about taking over control. However, it was harassment because it was unwanted, and it did trigger the past experience of unwanted touch, which was of sexual nature. Obviously, I would have never ever agreed to having the channel to my mouth made, to a blowjob channel, to a blowjob connection, to whatever connection between my mouth, my mouth cavity, my throat, or other parts of my body, and penis. This is totally unacceptable. It is illegal. I have never ever given an agreement. Speaking of agreements, I am being made to believe, so I believe not only me, but also the people who are in the same space and hear their voices as I do, that I have entered an agreement with Mr. Medvedev. There is a gossip saying that Mr. Medvedev bought medicine for my mom. I don't know how. I don't know who bought. I don't know the overall situation of my mom getting the medicine. But one thing is certain: Mr. Medvedev has never ever talked to me, and I have never ever entered an agreement with Mr. Medvedev. So this is a lie. Should the situation occur, I would have never ever agreed to deliver a blowjob or have whatever connection to blowjobs in return for my mom getting the medicine. I would say, no, you offend me, you insult me, you are not a noble man. I don't want to have anything to do with you. I will go elsewhere. I will look for noble people. There are noble people among rich people too. Your offer is ignoble, and I will not even consider it. Then I got interested in Mr. David Cohen, which is who is the deputy director of the CIA. The situation is unfortunate or fortunate. We don't know yet, actually, because it's unfortunate in the sense of my overall situation of having this PR of the enemy of the United States created. So this is something that, well, now we have a confusion because we don't really know what. I mean, I know I don't have any problems with it, but people seem to have some problems with deciding which line it is, whether this is personal or whether it is professional. So first of all, it is professional. It so happens that the person whom I wanted to contact professionally turned out to be the person who is very important personally. And how it's going to develop, I don't know. The situation is very complex, but I want to make it clear. I'm not obliged by any man. And whatever has been said about my relationship with Jacek Cichocki, with Andrzej Duda, on whomever else is a lie. That's all. And it's vitally important because the concept of my husband is that he would have never ever accepted such a situation, such a woman. So this is a purposeful black PR, and this is vitally important for me that it is totally cleared up on the global scene, because what has been done to me is a rape, and this has to be handled professionally. In terms of the professional PR, I am a virgin, I am pure. Almost immaculate, I would say, if not immaculate indeed. Because I'm a victim, although I am a victim. So this is the powerful process of victimization, actually. It also shouldn't be treated as a sort of alarm for anyone, because the way I imagine the development of the relationship, should it occur, is meeting, having a conversation, seeing whether there's some common world we live in. I understand that Mr. Khan has turned left wing, while I have definitely decided to go right, and actually in this concept of the framework I live in is the Buddhist framework. So I mean, this is this concept of the altruistic life of the Buddha who left the palace. So, that there's royalty behind, but we leave it. and we go to the people because we want to help people. However, in my spiritual development, I have reached the point where I understood, no, this is time to come back to the palace. So I'm the Buddha who wants to go back to the palace and live there. Of course, I'm not going to work on Mr. David Cohen, who is a mature man. In any way, he's going to. Should the relationship occur, he's going to stay independent. Obviously, I'm not that kind of woman. Um, Basically, a relationship with me requires certain decisions, like a divorce should he be married. But then we can as well be friends and live in different worlds. For example, I can communicate from my work to someone from a totally different work, provided we can live in peace, regardless of the differences we have. There are so many areas in which we can cooperate and achieve pleasurable um, mm, activity or product that it's totally pointless to wage wars against each other. As I'm saying, this is a long way to travel, and all the alarming news and responses of alarm are totally irrational. But I take them as part of this overall process of elimination. So basically, this is like another chance to strike at me. Still, I need to steer against whatever obstacles coming up or whatever um, bits of rock thrown in my direction. Um, I would like Mr. David Cohen not to offend me with connecting me to some blowjob people or prostitutes to make things worse, or to think about me sexual. And of course, should we be married one day, then obviously we would have sex or not, because it might happen that me or Mr. Cohen get ill at one point due to an attack from a terrible enemy. All sorts of things can happen. So let us make it clear. It is not about and it's obvious that my brand is no blowjob, no oral sex. So I never go into it. This is a totally absurd situation, and I expect all the routers to be taken off my body because they don't belong to me. So why should I accept them? Why should I bear with them? I mean, on what grounds? All those situations will be handled with adequate legal process. It's just very difficult for me to arrange it all to make it um, a fully fledged case, so to say. And I want to establish a legal precedent. So I want it to be my input into the global framework within the tradition of the law of precedent. Mm, I have never ever talked to Rihanna. So we have never ever been in a direct contact. I don't use Skype at all. I haven't used Facebook since President Duda became the president of Poland. So it was over a year now. I don't remember exactly when it was that he won the election and became the president, but it's been a very, very long time. So I haven't got any access to Facebook. I can, when there is a famous person, I can check the profile, but I cannot enter Facebook at all. And as for other people, private persons, for whatever private person, this is only the site without going into, the interest and so on. I cannot enter the person's posts at all. What else? Of course, Olga Jankowska, it seems that she has merged with me. I don't know why, and she has no right to do it. The same concerns Ella Storzy, the same concerns Łukasz Gongulski. I have nothing to do with libertines. I am totally traditional as far as sex is concerned. Well, perhaps not no sex before marriage, but certainly no sex that can bring children with someone who could not be the father of the children and my husband. So this takes it's a long way to travel before I could decide for having an intercourse with someone. Um, and definitely, I do not accept any anal sex, and the space filled with excrement is totally unacceptable. Also, in terms of anyone expressing his contempt, such books are totally unacceptable for me. This is the etiquette I will never ever accept, so I want to make it clear. The same concerns compliments. I will never ever accept the etiquette where I am not supposed to express my appreciation because someone takes it as an insult. This is totally unacceptable and insane. Uh, Perhaps I could end at this point and move to my attitudes as a teacher. Well, to start with, I never wanted to teach English. I wanted to teach English literature. The idea was very humanitarian. I believed that through teaching literature, we can create people who have more tolerance, more understanding for different realities. I had this idea. This my original MA thesis was supposed to be exactly about that, to deal with the ways in which we can study literature so that we would be arriving at those different realities. It has to do with codes and it is intercultural, obviously. I don't want to go into details now. I have not rethought it again, but the original concept had to do with emotional intelligence and social intelligence. So I read some books on the subject. I read some books on emotion as such. So if someone thinks that my interest in Scientology makes me a person who is ignorant of psychology, this is a misconception. I did my own study. Overall, I always had a lot of affinity with cognitivism. However, I reject the ontology of brain that would view it as a machine. So I'm not in that. This is one of the possible frameworks for description of the brain's operation, but this is not complete and this is not the only description. Overall, I have a scientific mind, so an inquiring mind. I am very proud of having graduated from the Jagiellonian University that gave the world Nicholas Copernicus, and I do believe in that original concept of being able not only to arrive at some groundbreaking truth as a breakthrough in science or some perception of the world, thus life, but also to survive it, to be able to deliver it to people, to make people aware that it's that the world they have been living in so far is somewhat different from what they have thought. And this is the genius I try to achieve. Um, as a teacher, I believed that I would give my pupils the best thing they can possibly get: independence, freedom. For me, knowledge, skills, the ability to learn, the independence from indoctrination. So the fact that I can relate to an information, that I know where to look for information, where to I mean, not the practical information, but the basic information about life. For example, the information that helps me decide whether I am insane or not. This is vital because this is crucial for our life. Um, I might have a difficult situation, but the decision whether I am insane or whether someone else is insane is vital for my survival. And the same concerns the nature of life, the nature, a lot of things, deciding where we deal with God and where we deal with manipulation. These are basic questions we need to ask and we need to find our answers. So I always believed that my pupils should be independent. It was also my purpose to develop them in such a way that they could be independent of me too. So I did give, I did have this in mind that they can actually question me, they can disagree with me, and they knew they could. Obviously, that what has happened has gone into a complete chaos and insanity because there's a huge difference between questioning something and killing someone. But I understand that my pupils have been puppets simply. Some of them feel very powerful because they think that they are the alpha behind the whole situation. I don't think so, to be honest. I believe that they have been, I mean, they might be very powerful, they might be more powerful than the people in the government, even, but I think there's some great eminence behind. And I know that the conflict I'm in is not between me and my pupils because we had a totally different sort of a relationship. Um, I started teaching in a school in Azore. At the time, it was very important for me to give them love, to give them this sense of self-esteem, and to boost their confidence, to give them the sense that they can learn, that they can achieve what they want in life, that they can fulfill their dreams. It was not so important for me that they should be great, that they should be very competent in English. But then I changed my mind. Anyway, what we developed there was the learning emergency aid. That's what they called it. This is a peer tuition project where pupils help each other in learning. So I, I realized that some of my pupils needed this one-to-one help in learning, full focus, quality time. This is also important from the psychological or spiritual point of view. They're actually giving quality time and you don't have to pay for it. So you become very, very important as a person. And this, it was obvious that I was not able to work with each of them, give each of them the quality time. So my pupils helped me, and this is one of my flagship um, or brand projects. Um, I started the discussion club, and it was a lesson for me. It was a failure. I was not able to make it work, and it was a failure due to my having a soft spot for one particular pupil. Not, I mean, some people want to make a lesbian out of me, including suggesting that I had some special sexual attraction to some of my female pupils. No, this is a lie, nothing of the kind. I have this is a sisterly or friendly attitude, and if I, for example, if I see them as attractive, if I admire them as attractive, this is simply the appreciation of beauty. This particular person had a strong personality. She was in a constant revolt. She was very rebellious, and I'm not sure if she gave it up, but at the time she seemed to one of those who might go for fashion one day, for the development of her own style. At the time, she was experimenting, so she looked quite controversial sometimes, but she did have this sense, there was this sense of her looking for something, her making all sorts of combinations that might one day develop into a professional fashion designer. But she might have given it up. I have no idea what happened to her. I have a strong sense that she has turned against me, but her mom works in the police and in psychology as a psychologist, so I believe she must have indoctrinated her about Scientology. Obviously, people in Poland are not capable of overcoming this prism. Um, in my second school, which is the school in Wrocław, um, I was the brand is my working with the whole class. So there was no, I mean, with each and every pupil. So there was not a lesson like me standing in front of the class and delivering the lesson, but I was preparing exercises so each person could work at their own pace. Obviously, I did a lot of extra work to be able to do this. I left the book. Some people think that it was wrong, but I think it was correct because the pupils were not at the level where they could continue doing the book. Some of them could, but the rest would be behind, and they would be simply wasting their time pretending they are learning, in fact, not being able to learn because the level was too high, and they have a lot of things to catch up with. So I made up for it. I prepared all. I covered all the steps that made it possible for them to learn English. Actually, and they were working in class. I was walking from one person to another to check how they are doing. As I'm saying, each was working at their own pace, and if someone was better, I prepared extra materials too. And so this is there was no neglect in that sense. The only neglect there was perhaps about not being I mean, not picking up on all the people who could have developed better, but I had to focus on the poor people because they could not afford it. I always had this thinking that if you have a rich person, the rich person can get a teacher and I mean, can buy, in essence. The poor one is not in the condition. That's why, not because I like them more, but sometimes I like them more because there's always a personality factor, which also should not be confused with someone making the people part of my life. Obviously, I don't belong to the working class, so this is totally outrageous that someone would have put my former pupils into my life. They have nothing to do with me in terms of a personal life, and it's totally unacceptable that I should be made to bear someone's presence all the time. So this is criminal charge against the person who did it. Um, Overall, this is about winning the pupil's dignity, about making them capable again. So I did sacrifice my position and the degree of liking for that sake, because I was ready to get fired, to make the point that they could learn. So this is them not having done their duty, not me. This is a valid point. I will elaborate perhaps more, but now I want to finish because I want to pause it. So, the third school is the Lishki school. I had a different attitude there because in the Volbron school, the previous one, it was more like an army, so it was very important for me keep the discipline. Here I emphasized love because they were younger, obviously, it was the primary school. And apart from it is as my extracurricular input, I had classes devoted to great European personalities like Einstein, Shakespeare, and Van Gogh. So this is also my project, which I developed later into the Leonardo da Vinci into my dream school, so to say. So this is I want to emphasize that it goes back to 2004. This is not Alexandra teacher's idea. This is mine. And but what I liked most was the continuation of this peer tuition project. Learning emergency aid. It was working very well with my class. I was responsible for the 5th grade, and it was great. Basically, the problems we're dealing there with are of legal nature, so I'm going to elaborate on it too. Of course, I have never ever been a Satanist. The Satanism thing came up from the situation that has to do with a pentagram painted on one of the chairs, and the pupil, one of the pupils did not want to sit there. So I sat there, just to give them the sense of comfort. Well, perhaps from the perspective of time, I'm not sure if it was not a better idea not to sit there. But I had this idea of discharging this fear connected with the pentagram and Satanism. So I thought of bringing this part of the Sir Gawain and the Green Knight romance, which has to do with the Sir Gawain's shield that has pentagram and Virgin Mary on it. And I said it in the teacher's room. However, the teachers were not educated well enough to understand what I was talking about, and they did not ask, so they thought that I was going to introduce my pupils into Satanism. This is quite typical, as a matter of fact. I had a very good influence on my pupils, which we can also discuss in detail. All that has been taught afterwards has to do with the pupils being rewarded for acting against me, and the reason is political. This is a purely political reason. It has nothing to do with me being a superb teacher. Of course, there are some grudges, but as I'm saying, this is. And another thing is that I was wearing my Vatican medal at the time. So, but I did not say it because this is none of their business. They have no right to ask me about my religious convictions or ask me why I would not go to the Holy Mass during the school hours. So this is these are the legal points, the point of freedom. Then there was the school, the vocational college for adults. My groups were administration, advertising, tourism, secretaries and assistants, and comprehensive school, comprehensive secondary school for adults. So that they could pass this exam that made it possible for them to study. And then there was the school in. There was not a school. I worked for a company, but this is not the same teaching. So this is. So maybe I wind up here because this is my time is up. Thank you for your attention. That will be all for today. I will elaborate on each point, on the points that are most valid next week.